Nick, we good? Okay, I'll go ahead and call to order the regular meeting for October 28th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our mission statement is Learning for Life. Vision statement is Southgate Community Schools, the best choice for students and parents. With that, I will entertain a motion on the agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
We have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support? Support. Supported by Mr. Sage. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's approved. And the first item is audit presentation.
Good evening.
Yes, just one moment before you get started. I do want to introduce to you Maria Gistinger. She is our interim CFO. She has a lot of decades of experience running schools, and she's got great partners that are also helping Southgate make this transition in leadership, and we're really excited to have her. She will be with us through this fiscal year. So.
Very good. Welcome. Thank you.
All right. I know. Is it fine for me to go ahead? All right, good evening. My name is Daniel Clark. I am the signing principal on the audit again this year. So happy to be with you all tonight again this year. So we are presenting the results from the June 30th, 2025 audit. This is due to the Michigan Department of Education by November 1st, so you will meet that deadline again this year. So happy to state that this will be done and filed by that deadline. So these are the topics that we're going to cover. If you're following along on the slideshow, we are on slide 2. Moving right to slide 3. Again, I introduced myself. Tracy, Kendall, and Shelby Bailey are the main contacts on the audit, and they've been with Raymond for quite some time and have been doing the audit along with me the last several years. So first and foremost, we do have required board communications that we do every year. Happy to state that the district did receive what we call an unmodified or a clean opinion. So that's exactly what you would be looking for from an audit perspective. So that means everything that is listed in the financial statements before you is materially correct. And again, happy to state that the district once again received a clean, unmodified opinion. We are also asked to communicate any new accounting pronouncements that impact your financials from year to year. So this year there was one related to Government Accounting Standards Board number 101. So that's GASB 101 related to how compensated absences are calculated, and that would include your accrued sick and vacation and comp time. That resulted in a beginning fund balance adjustment on the entity-wide. So again, this doesn't touch any of your individual funds, but this is from an entity-wide perspective. It impacted it about $4.5 million. So it increased that liability over last year about $4.5 million. And this is an accounting pronouncement that all school districts had to comply with this year being the first year. Then number 3, accounting estimates, such as those things that go into calculating your pension and OPEB, which is your other post-employment benefit. Things such as the compensated absences calculation and depreciation, all those various estimates were assessed and deemed to be reasonable. We are happy to state that we did not encounter any difficulties while performing the audit. The staff was helpful. I know there was a transition in the finance office this year, so we do appreciate Maria and Sharon and all the districts help in getting this done again in a timely manner. And then furthermore, number 5 or 6, we're happy to state that there were no material misstatements or even past adjustments that were needed. So the records that were provided to us at the beginning of the audit were clean, and we didn't have to make any adjustments. So again, that speaks to the quality of the records that are being kept by the district on a day-to-day basis and at year end. And then furthermore, we did not have any material weaknesses. So again, findings are kind of categories in three buckets. Highest finding would be a material weakness, and we found none. There are those that are related to significant deficiencies, which is a step down. And I'll talk about one that's in draft form right now for the single audit. And then we did have one other matter, which is more of a management letter comment. So the USDA does require that your food service fund not include more than 3 months of expenditures in the fund balance. That over the years has accumulated, and this is actually a common thing that we've seen throughout the state too. So just as you monitor your food service fund, there should be efforts to try to reduce that fund balance down to that 3-month mark. So again, a management letter comment for the district to consider. So the next slide is what we call a single audit. So that's your audit over your federal dollars specifically. So obviously the district receives significant federal dollars. As you'll see in point 1 there, the district spent about $5.4 million in federal revenue included in your child nutrition cluster, which is your food service. Also the special education, and then the district does have some other federally funded grants. I will say we have not officially issued the single audit, which is unusual this year. The federal government has not finalized the compliance supplement. So until that is done, we have to hold the single audit back until they finalize that. So again, this is impacting all school districts. The testing is done, and we don't expect any major changes. Once that gets released by the federal government, we will release the single audit. But as far as from a state perspective, the school district has complied. We do issue 2 reports over the single audit, one related to internal controls and one related to compliance. And then as I stated, there was one item that we noted related to how vendors are checked whether they've been disbarred. So there's a requirement by the federal government and then by your own internal policies that you can't use a vendor if it's been debarred from a federal level. That has been checked on an annual basis. The only thing that we noted is there was no documentation showing that website had been checked to make sure they were disbarred. We do go out there and double check that they weren't, and of course there was no issue. But from a documentation standpoint, we would just request that the district print out when they check the vendors are checked and just have it in the file. So again, there were no issues as far as using vendors. It's just more of a documentation thing. So we did test the child nutrition cluster, which approximated 1.9 million. And we also tested the special education cluster, which was another 1.8 million. So again, only that one item of note. So overall, very clean audit. And again, the district should be very proud of the records and the results that they were able to produce this year again. So with that, I will move straight on to the financial results. So on slide 6, the district had a total of 154 million in assets compared to 158 million last year, so a decrease of 4.1 million. That first line, you will see that the district's cash and investments went down about 6.5 million. A significant driver there is obviously the district has issued bonds both in 2023 and 2025. There were significant dollars spent this year in infrastructure, specifically from the 2023 bond, to the tune of about 16.4 million. So overall, you'll see in that middle line the net capital assets. So that would be all your infrastructure, your buildings, buses, etc. The district added about 17 million in capital asset additions for 2025. And then that was netted with annual depreciation of 3.9 million. So it netted an increase of just shy of $13 million in capital additions. So a lot of projects going on throughout the district in 2025, as you can see by the usage of cash and then the increase in your capital assets. Slide 7 is then the liabilities that the district holds. So on slide 7, you'll see the district had 195 million in liabilities at the end of the fiscal year. That's a decrease over last year of just over $17 million. So always great to see liabilities go down, and I'll talk about a couple of the big changes there. So your long-term debt actually did go up by 4.8 million. That's a result of the new bond that was issued in 2025, which equated to $7.9 million in debt issuances. And then you paid 3.3 in annual principal payments. So a net increase of 4.8 million. But the two actually largest changes, you'll see your net pension liability went down fairly significantly, just shy of $25 million. And then your net OPEB, or your other post-employment benefit is what that stands for, is actually an asset. So what that means is that the plan for your OPEB liability is overfunded. Again, both of these are state level pension and OPEB plans. Both of them did significantly well this year related to the investment returns. So again, saw a significant decrease in both the liability and then an actual increase in the net OPEB asset. And I've got a couple slides in a few minutes that will talk specifically about that. So assets minus liabilities equals net position, or the district's equity, and it's made up of these three different buckets on slide 8. 7% is net investment in capital assets, 18% you have restricted dollars, and then the remaining is the unrestricted. Slide 9 just shows those different buckets year over year. So in 2025, the district had $15.4 million in restricted. So that went up significantly over last year. Anytime a pension or OPEB turns into an asset, you do have to restrict those dollars. So you saw on the previous slide where I was talking about that asset went up significantly. That's why your restricted dollars went from 4.5 million all the way up to 15.4, because it's restricted from an entity-wide purpose. And then that other line is your net investment in capital assets. So all the infrastructure, all the net assets that the district has minus the debt equated to about 6.1 million in net investment in capital assets. And then slide 10 speaks to the net position related to the unrestricted. So that top line, the district has about 12.9 million in unrestricted without the impact of pension. But obviously the pension liability is a significant liability that the district holds. So that bottom line represents the impact that the pension liability has on the district. So you're sitting at a negative $63 million. Now I will say this is very common throughout the state. Most school districts, in fact, all of them that I deal with, have negative unrestricted specifically related to the pension liability. And then speaking of the pension liability on slide 11, so all the way over to the right, you'll see in 2025, the district's pension liability was 66.7 million, or 74% funded. So very positively funded from a funding standpoint. You'll see that smaller set of bars represents your annual contribution that the district has to make each year. So in 2025, the district paid in $12.2 million into the pension plan, which has remained relatively stable over the last couple of years. It continues to tick up. So about $1 million over last year. And then slide 12 speaks to the OPEB liability. And in this case, the district has an asset. So last year in 2024 was the first year that turned into an asset. So it was negative 1.6 million. So it means the plan was overfunded. This year, just due to the significant investment results, you went from 105% funded to now to 143% funded. And you'll see in this slide that second set of columns represents the annual contribution. So because it's in a significant asset position, your annual contribution has dropped significantly over last year. So this year you paid in $656,000. Last year was about $2 million that the district paid into the OPEB liability. Slide 13 just talks about the overall revenue and expenses that the district sees. So this year, the revenues equated to 78.1 million, just a small increase over last year. Expenses were 65 million, so a net increase of $12.9 million. Slide 14 relates specifically to your major revenue line items. So the largest revenue line item, obviously, that the school district gets is the per pupil funding from the state. That top line shows that you receive 48.9 or just shy of 49 million in per pupil revenue. It's a small increase over last year's. So obviously there's a change anytime the pupil count goes up or down, and then the per pupil dollar amount. So again, that remained relatively stable year over year from last year. That second line is your local dollars, so mostly your property taxes. You saw about $1 million increase in that. You went from 17.5 million to 18.5 million as real estate values in the area slowly increase. So again, that is directly impacted in that, and then any change in levies obviously as well. And then those bottom two lines are your inter-district dollars, and the orange line is your federal. So you'll see that continues to drop since 2022, where you were at a high of about 8.7 million in federal revenue, and now that's back down to about 5.9, much more in line with what you were pre-COVID. So obviously, with the majority, actually all your COVID money spent, you are now sitting around $6 million in federal revenue. And then we'll just briefly chat about the general fund on slide 15. So in 2025, the district had 65.7 million in general fund revenue compared to 63.9 in expenses. So you added about 1.9 million to fund balance, which equates to about 2.9%. So just a small increase into your fund balance, which on slide 16 shows that fund balance change year over year. So the district had about 19.1.2 million in total fund balance, and then the unassigned portion of that, which is almost all of it, equated to 19.17. So again, that 2.9 increase year over year last year caused that increase in fund balance. And then slide 17 is the final slide, just shows what that fund balance relates to compared to a year's worth of expenditures. So interestingly enough, that ratio actually stayed almost identical year over year last year. So in 2025, you had 29.89% in your general fund. Last year, you were at 29.95%. So practically identical. I will say benchmark here, typically we like to see between 3 and 4 months. So you're actually sitting right smack dab in the middle of that. Once you get below like the 2-month mark, obviously there could be some cash flow issues. There could be some need for some short-term borrowing, but the district is well above that at that 3.5 mark, which is a really nice, healthy place to be. And then the last slide just shows upcoming accounting pronouncements that the district will have to consider moving forward. We don't expect these to have any real significant impact other than maybe some additional disclosures in future years. But with that, that is the end of the presentation, but happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
So I had a question about the management letter to food services.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit further on that?
So the USDA requires that no more than 3 months of expenditures sit in fund balance.
Right.
So in your case, that would equate to about 600,000. Currently, I think you're at 1.1 million. So
I wasn't sure if it was a good thing or if it was a note that.
So it just means that you need to spend approximately 500,000 of
Okay.
your food service on some sort of food service related items. Typically, it's used for equipment and that type of stuff. So
That wasn't a finding that there was not the balance that was
correct.
paid down.
Yeah,
Okay.
in this case, it means your balance is too high.
Oh,
So
okay, good.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I have one question.
Yes,
On the pension liabilities in the OPEB, is that tied to our current employees, or is that tied to current and retired employees?
Both.
It's tied to both?
Yep. Yes, so it's current and those that are already retired. So it calculates both your, the census of both who's currently employed and who is since retired and is still using that pension.
Okay, so it calculates them through the end of use of the
Correct.
pension.
Yes, the end of life. Yep.
So even at some point, we're gonna have teachers, employees who don't have pensions anymore, because that was cut out years ago from the state. We'll still be paying the liability on them.
Yes. Yeah, and it's all administered at the state.
Oh, I know.
Obviously, the only
I-
thing that the district has to do is just pay
Yeah, I
it.
know it's out of our hands. They just
Yes.
give us a bill, but I
Yeah,
was curious
yes.
how they calculate that bill, if it's,
Yeah, it's all done through the actuarial calculations and numbers that I don't even quite understand how all that works, but
nobody does.
yes, exactly.
If you do, they throw you in the volcano.
It's an art more than a science, I think.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I do want to take a moment to thank our business department also for all the hard work for preparing for this audit. It always takes months of accumulation of items, and so Chris is here, here representing the business department along with Maria. So we just want to say thank you to all those who were involved in making that happen.
Thank you. All right, next is public comment. I'll open the meeting up to public comment. Anybody can address the board for up to 3 minutes. Is there anybody who would like to address the board tonight? All at once. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment. Brings us to the consent agenda. That consists of the October 14, 2025 regular board meeting minutes and the October 14, 2025 board workshop minutes and the HR update. I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support? Support. Supported by Mr. Green. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Approved. We don't have any action items tonight. Brings us to an all-important item on the agenda.
Mr. President,
Mr. Green.
I'd like to make a motion to close.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Green to adjourn the meeting. Is that supported?
Support.
Supported by Dr. Pomponio. Any discussion on this important item?
Not yet, not today.
Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Or